Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I would love to share some more information with you about line 6 in human design. So if you are a female business owner, entrepreneur, course creator, community builder, coach, if you are a female founder, then this is a great video for you to really understand the lines that make up your profile. So I'm going to be speaking about line 6 specifically. So if you have line 6 in your human design, you are a role model, which is just amazing. So I'm going to be telling you a little bit about what that means and then how you can use that to implement that into your business to create success within your business and actually to go out and be more confident, right, as you're going out and promoting yourself and your business. So if this is the first time that you've ever watched any of my videos, welcome. It's wonderful to see you here. I am in celebration mode at the moment because I've just found out that we now have 2,000 subscribers onto the YouTube channel, which I know is not as many as a lot of YouTubers out there, but I am very, very proud of the fact that we've been able to do that. And I just want to say thank you so much for supporting the whole channel with that. I've just realised that my microphone is not plugged in. Thank you so much for supporting. It's really means the world to me because human design is a game changer. It is incredible because it gives you insights as to how you can naturally create opportunities for yourself in your business. So the more that I personally, along with so many of my colleagues, spread the word about human design, spread the light, so that there is a better understanding about it, so that you have a better understanding. So instead of trying to compare yourself to everyone else like that and try and be like everyone else, actually this is about turning inwards and really understanding that all the answers, everything that you need is inside of you. What you need to get really good at is receiving what is meant for you, receiving the things that are supposed to come in to your life when you have alchemized any challenges that you have into something really magical and really successful. And how often do we just go chasing, following the strategy? So yes, of course, there is a strategy included in human design, and that's why I like it so much, because I come from a corporate background, so it talks to the practical side of me, but there is also a real mystical element within human design. It's definitely Aquarian age leadership technology, and it's definitely designed to help you to receive all the things that the universe is wanting to send into you. So when it comes to universal laws, like the universal law of attraction or the universal law of vibration, then it really, really aligns to that. So let's jump in with line 6. I also want to bring in some personal experiences because I have a line 6 within my profile. So I am a 4-6 profile within human design. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, there are 6 lines within human design and they go from 1 to 6. And we all have 2 lines, so we all have 2 numbers, and that makes up your profile. So if you're new to human design, when you look at your human design chart, and if you've no idea what I'm talking about, I'll put the link below where you can download your completely free of charge chart. You will see that next to your body graph, so there's a graph, like a diagram, and next to that there will be, it will say profile, and it'll look like a fraction. So for example, mine is 4/6, and that means that my profile within human design is opportunist, which is line 4, and role model, which is a line 6. And you will either have conscious or unconscious line 6 within your profile, if that is indeed within your profile, of course. The first number is conscious, the second number is unconscious. What does that mean? that basically means that the first number is who you think you are, and you can see yourself in that, and that is who you believe to be you. And then the unconscious is something necessarily that you might not see in yourself, although it all depends how much personal development you've done. So this is really interesting. When I do a human design reading and I look at the conscious and unconscious, I find that people that have done more personal development, more inner work, that are more awake to spirituality and the laws of the universe, that they are more aware of their unconscious, that maybe someone who is just kind of like entering this and is at the beginning of your journey. And look, there's no right or wrong to this. There's no like, this is better, that's better, these people are better than you because they're further on in their journey. It's nothing to do with that. It's just about the level of understanding and your self-awareness. Because the more you can learn about yourself, the better you will be in terms of creating success, feeling more confident, loving yourself, valuing yourself, putting in boundaries, attracting in really high vibrational clients. It will be, probably better is not a good word for that actually, it'll be easier, it'll feel more aligned. So regardless of whether you're at the beginning of your journey or whether you are deep in the experimentation of human design, I'm hoping that you will take some insights from today, because I speak specifically into creating success within your business using human design. So we have this profile, we have these lines. So let's talk about line 6 specifically. So as I've said before, I am a line 6 within human design. So if you have a line 6 within human design, you live your life in 3 stages. Stage 1, approximately, is from up until like you're 30, approximately. Okay, and up until you're 30, if you were a line 6, you live your life as a line 3. So you are actually, up until that age, you are fully in life, experimentation, doing all the things, having all the challenges, making all the mistakes. And yes, they are mistakes. I always get stick for this on YouTube videos, like, don't call them mistakes. Well, they are mistakes. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. You're putting negative connotation on mistakes. Mistakes are brilliant because we learn from them, okay? So line 6, if you are older than 30, reflect back on your life, because the proof's in the pudding, right? I can tell you anything on this video. I can tell you anything. Like, don't believe me. I always say, don't believe a word that I say. Go and find out for yourself. Experiment. This is the human design experimentation. So reflect back. This is a really good exercise for anyone in business to reflect back on your life, the life experiences, what you've learned. Reflect back. So if I use myself as an example, and so many clients that I've worked with who have got a line 6 within their human design actually concur with this, that when I was a line 6, when I was a line 3 back in the day, when I was a line 3, so up until my 30th birthday, I made loads of mistakes, but my God, I was living my life at its full potential. I was throwing myself at life. Anyone who, if you follow me for a while, you'll know that my life experience, my journey is that I was born into a religious cult, 3rd generation religious cult. And I was very disempowered as a female. I was brought up to be very subservient to men, that I was going to get married, that I was going to have children, that I was going to be like following like God, following the organization, listening to men, being told what to do by men. That was literally my life's journey. And when I was 16, I chose freedom. I left all of it behind, and I chose freedom. I trained to be a chef, so I know how to cook. And then I trained to be a nanny, a nursery nurse, because all I wanted to do was just go and travel the world. For me, that was freedom. So I trained to be a nanny, and then I got a job as a nanny and went and worked overseas. And then I continued to work overseas up until I was about 30, 31. And I made loads of mistakes, and it was absolutely bloody amazing. I don't regret a single thing, because that was my stomping ground. That's where I learned about life. That's where I learned about pleasure. That's where I learned about pain. That's when I learned about boundaries, kind of. I didn't really learn about boundaries until I started my business about 9 years ago. But I learned all of life's lessons, and I got my heart broken, and I went and traveled the world and saw amazing places. And then if I reflect back on my life, when I was 30, 31, I then came back to the UK, and my life shifted. I didn't necessarily become a hermit or an introvert or anything like that, but I definitely removed myself a little bit from life. We call it in human design going onto the roof of life. So what happens is, instead of like being a 3 and like throwing yourself at life and making all the mistakes and having all the experiences, what happens is that you just like, you don't do that anymore. And you climb onto the roof of life, and what you do is you start to, first of all, lick your wounds, because the mistakes have created wounds. And oh my goodness, I had so many wounds. Okay, when I came back to the UK, I was absolutely broken. I was heartbroken. I was broken. Okay, so I needed to go onto the roof of life to lick my wounds. What also happens is you're looking at life from a different perspective. So instead of being in it, you're actually above it. And this is like a strategy for anyone that's running a business, right? Because how often are we like in the day to day? So this is like blue sky thinking. This is helicopter view. I'm using all the I'm using all the corporate phrases. Helicopter view. Helicopter view of the business. Blue sky thinking. Okay, this is what I was doing with my life. Helicopter view of my life on the roof. I was looking down, and I was observing life from a different point of view. I wasn't in it, I was observing. So therefore, I was also able to observe other people making the same mistakes that I made. And what that was doing is it was creating wisdom for me, especially as a projector. It was creating a lot of wisdom, a lot of understanding about me and about life and about the role that other people play in life. Okay, because your profile is just basically the role that you play in life. You have your incarnation cross, which is your purpose. You have your profile, which is the role that you play in life. You manifest your incarnation cross, your purpose, through your profile, which is also part of your broader purpose. And then those lines, that line 6 within my profile, within my purpose, played a big role in that. So to use myself as an example, I'd been a party girl, I'd been traveling all around the world, I'd been making all the mistakes. Then what did I do? I became quite serious, and I went and joined corporate. So I was working in corporate head office. I bought a house. I wasn't going out as much. I definitely wasn't in party mode. I wasn't drinking as much. Kind of. I was drinking a lot in my 20s, a lot in my late teens, a lot in my 20s. 30s, I started kind of getting a bit more sensible, probably more into my 40s than my 30s, to be honest with you. And there's no judgment here if you like a glass of wine, because I still like a glass of wine, especially a glass of champagne. But all of that I was doing when I was on the roof of life. Okay, when you were alive, so that's the second kind of like act. The third act in life is when you're around about 50 and you slide off the roof of life with all of that wisdom, with all of that self-reflection, after looking at the world from a completely different perspective and looking at yourself from a completely different perspective. For 20 years, you slide back off the roof of life and you come into this world as a role model. Now, again, if you have, if you're now like 50 and over, again, reflect back on your 30s and 40s. Did that feel different from up until your 30s? Can you resonate? Comment below. Can you resonate with that? Or are you in it now? It's more than likely, if you're watching this, I think if you're in my audience, you'll be in that age bracket. So how are you experiencing that now as a line 6? How is that manifesting in your life? What has been the shift? I talked about in my 20s, I was a party girl traveling the world. And in my 30s and 40s, I was serious leadership, corporate, climbing the corporate ladder. Now, I turned 50 last year as we're recording this, so I'm now 51. The year leading up to my 50th birthday, I could feel myself sliding off the roof. I was holding on to dear life. I wanted to stay on that roof. I could feel myself. It was the weirdest feeling. Like good, but also like, I'm not ready. I didn't feel ready. I was like, I just want to I did not want to get back into life fully. I didn't want to be like in life with all the experiences, and I'm a visibility coach. So I'm really visible. I'm really visible on videos. I'm really visible on stages. I'm really visible in real life. I'm visible through the way that I dress, the way that I show up, the clients that I work with. But there was still a bit of me that had removed myself fully. And now I was sliding back in. So anyway, I was holding on. And now I'm back in. And so for me now, it's about role modeling. So for you as a line 6, the third act, the third stage of life is you fully in life as a role model. And as a role model, it's really important that you practice what you preach. And I always say this, if you're like showing up online and saying one thing, but you're living your life in a different way, people will be able to feel it from you. They might not necessarily be able to see it because they're not in your life 24/7, and maybe they're only seeing the public persona, but they can feel it from you. So in terms of your business, let's put this into perspective, shall we? So first of all, if you are in that 0 to 30 bracket and you are running a business, this is all about you going and experimenting, doing all the things, throwing yourself at life, showcasing that to your public, to your followers, telling stories of the mistakes that you've made and how you've learnt the lessons from it, but really encouraging people how to live life to their fullest potential. This is the energy that you are coming forward in as a line 6 through up until you're 30. If you are 30s to 50s, just because you're at the roof of life doesn't mean that you can't go out there and be visible. But what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using that angle on the roof of life to maybe give a different perspective to your clients, the way that you help them, the way that you lead them through things. And you can also be talking very, very knowledgeably again about the mistakes that you made when you were in your 20s. And I did this a lot. I started my business when I was 42. It's now 9 years within my business, so 42. So from ages 42 up until, this time, I've spoken a lot about these are the mistakes that I made. This is what I learned from it. These are the mistakes that I've made in my business. This is how I'm going to show you. I've made these mistakes so you don't need to. So you can talk very knowledgeably and very confidently about the mistakes that you've made in your business, in your life, whatever your zone of genius is and whatever you choose. When you are above 50 or over 50, you've got to level 50 in the game of life. And level 50 and above, it's this role model era. So how are you going to embody being a role model? How are you going to show up? Because this isn't just about what you say. This is about your energy. This is about embodiment of that particular era in your life. You're in your role model era. Well, first of all, I've already given you a clue that it's really important to practice what you preach. Otherwise, people will not take you seriously. And what you're actually going to be able to do is you're going to be able to tell the story of your life, but from a different perspective, because you're no longer on the roof of life. You're now in life. So what does that look like for you? How are you going to tell your story? Storytelling is so important. I talk about storytelling a lot, especially now that we're in the, age of AI, and a lot of people's content sounds the same. How you're going to be able to differentiate yourself is through telling stories. And as women, we are the storytellers. The stories that are passed on from generation, your stories about how you have created success within your business, or how you've created success in your life, or how you've been able to overcome a particular challenge, or how you've been able to manifest something in your life. You can tell it from a story, through a story, but you can tell it from the perspective of a role model. There's wisdom in there. So are you owning your wisdom? Do you value your wisdom? Do you see yourself as a role model? Because if you don't see yourself as a role model, regardless of what human design's telling you, you're not going to be the role model because you're not showing up as that. So maybe this is an opportunity for you to really own that and for you to show up within that energy. So line 6 is just freaking amazing. And if you're in line 6, I'd really love to know below what you've learned today, what those 3 different perspectives look like for you, those 3 different stages of your life. If you have any questions, I always forget to ask this at the beginning, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, if you want to learn more about human design, and actually there are lots of videos on here about the different profiles. So, regardless of whether you're a 4-6 or a 6-2 or any other human design profile that involves the line 6, then you can actually go and take a look at that playlist and you'll be able to find your profile in there. Okay, questions below. Have an amazing day. Mwah! Sending lots of love to you, role model. And I'll see you on the next video.